Thank you, Councillor Mafume, for that elaborate summary on the 20 principles. The document goes on to give you the alternative electoral view, recommendations to the alternative electoral view, and the current status of the Zimbabwe electoral laws. It's a very comprehensive document, so I would really encourage you to take a look at it at a later stage. Due to our time, I think he could not speak us through the whole document, but he touched on the important aspects. I think he speaks to the issue of gender inclusivity and youth participation in elections, the diaspora votes, and I think the main point is that ZEC is structurally incompetent to deal with elections and to deliver a free and fair election. He also then makes the sum and total of it is that we want to push for an environment that is free and fair, where citizens' rights are afforded due respect, and where elections are not contested, as in the culture in the past. Talking of contested elections, I think that when we speak about the Zimbabwean struggle from the liberation time up to now, this has always been a demand. To quote Josiah Magamatongara, he says, our demands are just and legitimate. We demand a free and fair election where international observers will oversee. This is something he said in 1979 during the Lancaster House negotiations, when he was on the sidelines, also supporting the team that was on the table. And we've continued with this demand. I think until 2018, where we went into the election, that was rigged. The height of the incompetences of the Electoral Commission to deliver a free and fair election, I think, were very apparent in the 2018 election, where our president, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, was the leading candidate and the winning candidate in the election, but was not afforded the opportunity to be announced as the winner by the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, and also to facilitate for transfer of power. But so at this point, it is my singular honor and privilege to be able to invite our president to speak to the future of this document, how it's going to be implemented. It will definitely find expression in our legislative agenda, with our members of parliament pushing, and also in our political programs. But I will leave this moment and time for our president to at least, share with us how this document is going to be made practical. Mr. President, say.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, leadership. First of all, just to appreciate our MC, Maureen Kalimaunga, and the elections department, is led by a very short man. But dynamites come in small packages. Honorable Advocate Mafume, as deputized by Ellen Shiriedenga, thank you very much for the good work and for what you've done. We appreciate the amount of work that you've put into this. I'm sure I'm better off without this thing. Technology is always an inconvenience. Let me appreciate and acknowledge our Vice President, Honorable Biti, here present, our Senior Leadership Secretary General Charlton Wende, our Deputy Secretary General Chinanzo Awana, members of the Standing Committee, colleagues from the National Executive, our members of Parliament, that is the House of Assembly and Senate. I also see our councillors who have graced this occasion. Sure, the Mayor in absentia and the entire team from our council. I wish to also acknowledge our members of the diplomatic corps who are here present. We appreciate your presence and thank you for coming, both from the capitals in Europe, Americas, the Asiatics, Australasia, and of course, those from the African continent. We are here today to launch a very important document, a document that has already been addressed to you, a document that gives us a framework and a context of what we are going to be emphasizing as a party. This document is not being plucked from nowhere. It has a context. That context is wide consultation with a lot of our grassroots structures across the provinces of our country. So it is a grassroots-driven document, a people-driven document, which is people-centered and people-focused, people-based, and people-backed. This document is not a theoretical or an intellectual document that has just been produced by individuals in some offices. These are the aspirations of Zimbabweans in terms of what they want to see in free and fair elections in Zimbabwe. This document has a context too. We used, in terms of its raw material, the International Observer Mission reports from the European Union, from the NDI, the RI, in the context of the US-based observer missions, from the Commonwealth, and also from the African Union and SADC. So this document is populated by recommendations that are not novel, but things that have always been emphasized by other internationally acclaimed institutions that have competence in passing a verdict on the freeness and credibility of elections. This document is also informed by SADC principles on free and fair elections, the guidelines that we would want to see for free and fair elections in Zimbabwe. We are also mindful of the fact that this is not the first time we have produced this document as MDC. We always believe in being the alternative. As you know, historically, we have always had documents that we have put on the table so that we are able to then have an osmosis of ideas. We believe that nation building is not a solo effort. We believe that in nation building, nobody has the monopoly of all the bricks and all the wisdom. In nation building, each brick is important, and we do not have all the bricks, but this brick, we feel that this is the cornerstone and this is the foundational stone in order for us to cure the ailments and deficiencies that have affected our country historically. To rather stand rigged, manipulated, and stolen elections, which has been a dominant, the situation within our region. But we have been fortified by the situation within our region in Malawi, but of course on the continent in Kenya, where we have seen that the courts have played a pivotal role in being the guardians of justice and the guarantors of the rights of the people, particularly once the people have passed their verdict, have also voted, and they've heard their voice, which has to be respected. So this is the context. We have come to this document within the context of all these other efforts. As you know, we've done almost 5 or so documents since 2000. The first one was Restore. Our Restore document was, if we are to restore our country in terms of democracy and legitimacy, we need to do the following. It was ignored. We came up with Renee, which was basically no election, no reforms document. It was ignored. We came up with COSES, which are conditions for sustainable elections in Zimbabwe. Again, that document was ignored. We then did, just before the elections, we did a document, which was a summary of the conditions we would want to see for a credible elections. And we had foreseen this, that we would have a disputed election. And once we have a disputed election, we would not then be able to marshal the entire nation in confidence and in trust to move forward to resolve our challenges. So we came up with Peace, which was a plan for a credible election in Zimbabwe. Peace was disregarded, ignored by my brother, Emerson. And of course, we went into an election. They did what they did through the Excelgate scandal. And right now, the nation has no confidence in the direction that they're trying to take and fashion. That tells you that we've had, historically, an attempt to try and find a peaceful solution to the problems in Zimbabwe. But they've mistaken our propensity and affinity for peace for a weakness. They think that when we call for peace, it's because we have no other instruments to be able to produce conditions that will induce delivery and passage or birth of a new Zimbabwe. We do have, but we do know that on the African continent, we've paid dearly and heavily wherever we've had anarchy, chaos. In any event, those of us who are in the alternative have nothing to lose because we do not own property, we do not own any building, we have no farms, we have no mines, they have everything. So if there is to be instability, they are the first customers when it comes to their losses. And we'll be able to then sympathize with them, but they must know that we are not doing this because we are foolish. We are doing this because we know that the price to be paid by any nation for anarchy and chaos is so unbearable for the citizens. We saw it in Angola, we saw it in Sudan, we saw it in Somalia, we saw it in DRC. We do not want that path for our country, but we'll be forced very soon to then focus on that. Let me emphasize that these principles for a reliable and inclusive, credible election in Zimbabwe, PRIZE, is an acronym that is consciously chosen. We know that there is a price to be paid, but that price is only predicated upon doing certain fundamentals. And we've said that in order for us to be able to go the way of a credible election, let us adopt those 20 principles. We are also conscious of the fact that those of us in politics on the other side, in Zanu Pf, have emphasized that they want to have a cabinet committee that will focus on reforms. But we are saying, you know, you can't have national solutions on the basis of a partisan platform. If you want a national solution to be instituted, to come about, there has to be a common platform. This is why we have said Pollard is a non-starter, because it's unilateral, it's partisan, it's coming from an individual. An individual who does not have the mandate of the people, would want a proper platform for the resolution of our issues. So the Cabinet Committee on Reform is also a waste of time because it will not address the issues that are supposed to be addressed. Our alternative is for us to have a multi-stakeholder platform outside the cabinet, but all the political players, civic society, to then come up with their own documents. I know ZESNI, they've already done their model. I know that our colleagues in ERC, Election Resource Center, are also working on their own document. We are saying this is our own document. We do not claim to have the monopoly of all the ideas, but we are saying that this is our big idea. And let that big idea be part of the ideas that are going to constitute the comprehensive solution to our problems in Zimbabwe. So yes, we do know that there are issues that are being implemented, but this is our humble suggestion on the way forward. We are also aware of the fact that, you know, we've had cycles of disputed elections since 1980. Even Zoom had problems, ZAP had problems, Forum had problems, Zud and my sister Margaret Blongo had problems. We have had problems with these guys, just like Dabaningi's United Parties, and then I think the new name, they had problems historically. So the issue of disputed elections has always been perennial in this country. And it has been the source of instability in this country. So we have had a reproduction of an illegitimate regime since 1980. Zanu Pf is not the People's Party. It is the part that is produced out of manipulation of systems that have been instituted for that purpose. So we also are aware that as we go into the launch of this document, we have to understand that we are settled with a disputed 2018 election. Some have said, please, let's focus on 23. We will not focus on what is not there. We do not want to go to 2023 until we have resolved our past gaps, our past election. That has not been resolved. It is foolhardy to think that a disputed and democratic rigged election in 2023 will be the solution to Zimbabwean problems. Zimbabwe's problems cannot be resolved by an election in 2013, 2050, which is disputed, which is not based on credible conditions. That's why we are saying, if we are able to resolve these issues, the better, so that we are not going to reproduce our misery going forward. People have always had premature excitement on account of processes that are then terminated once the election then comes. So we need to be able to deal with this so that we are robust in resolving our 2018 dispute as a way of paving way for any future elections and the credibility of those elections. So we will not proceed to respect the delimitation process until we have resolved the issue of the independence of ZEC. A non-independent ZEC can't resolve delimitation. You can't say, let's go and focus on delimitation now. We are simply going to institutionalize and legislate gerrymandering. And you know, gerrymandering is from Governor Gary. Some say Governor Jerry from the United States of America, who was in the habit of redrawing the boundaries of the electoral constituents or district. Once he realized that he's no longer popular on that other corner, he will make sure that he avoids that corner. He goes to the fresh ones who do not know him. What you were dramatizing. So we don't want a gerrymandering exercise disguised as delimitation. And this is why they are trying to run away from a consensus around a process that is driven by conditions for free and fair elections. And they are running away from a scientific process. That's why they don't want a census to be linked to the issue of delimitation. Because they want to do everything under the cover of darkness on the basis of conjecture and guesswork. And that is what we are trying to avoid. There is no electoral act regime and regulations to govern delimitation as we speak. And that presents problems going forward. On what basis and how is that delimitation going to be done? What are the fundamental indicators? What are the indices and the factors that are being factored into it? There is no clarity on that. So we want this issue to be sorted out. We are not introducing new things. All the conditions we have put in here are ably captured within the spirit of the Constitution. Section 155, Section 156, on the conditions, character of elections that are supposed to be held around free and fair elections. Even Section 67 on political rights. So we are very clear on what we are putting before the nation. We are putting it on the table because we know that if we are to have any processes to do with the election in Zimbabwe, they have to be undertaken on the basis of agreed reforms. And they must be underscored to say, if we don't have these reforms, there will be no election. Some have said, MDC is saying they are not going to participate in the election. We can't boycott national processes in ourselves. But any election process that does not respect conditions for free and fair election is not national and cannot be an election. But we will make sure that there is no election which is not an election. We are sick and tired of rituals. We are sick and tired of just fixing in ourselves on a calendar which does not produce real outcomes for the people of Zimbabwe. So that is the context. That is the context within which we have brought this framework on how to have elections conducted in Zimbabwe. So yes, we have offered a 5-step solution to the resolution of the crisis in Zimbabwe. And we have said this to Mr. Mnangagwa. This is a modest plan to resolve problems in this country. Number one, let's have a shared understanding on the crisis we have in this country. Our colleagues in Zanu Pf are saying the crisis in Zimbabwe is a crisis of the economy. The economy is a manifestation of a deeper crisis. The crisis in Zimbabwe is a governance crisis. It is a political crisis. a crisis born out of disputed elections that are discredited and illegitimate crisis. That is the source. So if you cure malaria where you're supposed to cure BP, blood pressure, you will end up with a worse sickness. And the patient is going to be worse. That's why we are where we are. We are grappling with millimilk. Not because, it has become a governance issue. Because we do not know how to solve issues that are supposed to be resolved. The political crisis must be resolved politically. And we are not under an illusion. We are the solution to our own problems. We are the answers to our own questions. We don't expect South Africans to help our issues. Because they also have their own issues. We can't expect Europe, the United States of America, to solve our issues. They have their own issues in their own domestic jurisdictions. We must do our own bit. And this is why we are saying, here are the ideas. If you don't want to listen to ideas, we'll have to cause peace and pressure upon you so that you see the wisdom of listening to ideas. That is what we have told them. They will try all sorts of, tactics, arrests, whatever. We don't care until the issues in Zimbabwe are resolved. We want to make sure that we all come together to resolve the issue that we have to resolve. The nature of the crisis must be shared by the whole country. And in order for us to share, we can't outsource the resolution of our crisis. I've heard a lot of people making a lot of value-laden judgments on President Becky, this and that. No, this is our issue. We are our own liberators. We are our own solution in the context of our elections. And we must lead ourselves out of fear, out of ignorance, out of docility, out of passivity, and make sure that our country is given a new lease of life. Our colleagues in Zanu Pf have no solution. They have no ideas other than to chant slogans. Right now they are blaming us, it's because of the MDC. You can't blame one who is not responsible, unless if you are saying that they are the ones who are responsible. That's what it is. If I don't have a meal in my own family, I can't blame the neighbor. Unless if I know that the neighbor is the one who is the authority over my house. That's what it is. So yes, we respect their faith and confidence in us to say that you are the only ones who can give us solutions. But they must not come to us in an adversarial manner. They must come and seek wisdom. And we cause ideas to flow their direction. And we help them to resolve the issues. The second issue is the comprehensive reforms that we want to see in this country. And this is why we have brought this. This is just one element of the comprehensive reforms, the electoral bit. And we want these ideas to then formulate and form the basis of our engagement going forward. The third issue is, of course, building the nation. We've always made the point that, yes, we have a country, but we don't have a nation. A nation is about institutions, ideas, a republic, programs. That's what a nation is. A nation is not about subjects. We are just a country, and we need to make sure we become a nation by building this nation, by nationally healing. I see now in Multiparty, they want to go there and destroy evidence of their past omissions and commissions by saying we want to have agent reburial. Why are you fast-tracking what you have delayed over the years? Let us take our time to heal the wounds and then heal from below, heal from the bottom, going up. Don't impose solutions. Parachuted solutions are not solutions. They're actually a basis of fresh wounds. And I hope that they will understand that. We cannot go into Multiparty, try to rush processes. We need a bottom-up approach. We need truth-telling. We need accountability, restorative justice, rehabilitative justice, so that we're able to move together as a country. We've told them, if they listen, we'll really appreciate. The fourth issue is obviously international re-engagement. But we've told them, we can't have international re-engagement until we have had national re-engagement, because one fits into the other. Let's engage nationally and have a compact story. Iso atinetseki nenyaya. One day chai wanachi manya pa Spain, wanachi manya ku Europe. And wanachi will bring a solution. Why? Because we are going to be getting this from the bundle of trust, the bundle of confidence, with a bundle of integrity. Our colleagues do not have, because they don't live according to the, look at the SMP. It's dead now. Why? Because they did not honor what they had promised they were going to do. They told people that Zimbabwe is open for business, but they started closing down factories. Even those who want to come and do business, their mining rights are being taken, land is being taken. There's no law. Those in authority are the law. That can't be a country. We need the restoration of the rule of law. Proper rights. Let's have predictability, confidence. Everyone must feel secure. That's why one of our key rights is the security of persons, the security of property, the security and rights of property. Last but not least is obviously the humanitarian question. The economic issues. Dead bodies don't benefit from democracy. Yes. People have to be alive for them to enjoy democracy. Oh, yes. A roof over your house is important when you're alive. Yes. A dollar in your pocket is only valuable if you are breathing. When you are dead, democracy is meaningless. So we need to make sure that we avert starvation. Most of the people are food insecure in the rural areas. We need that humanitarian intervention. We need the solution. Civil servants have no money. I see now there's a new tax that has been imposed. And you don't understand where they are coming from. ED and Mutuli. Which planet do you live? Which planet do you live on? You have not gone to parliament, there's no law, you are just coming. Even those who run a tax shop have the decency of consulting. To say, how are we going to run this tax shop within a family sector? What kind of leadership is this? I'm now beginning to believe Mugabe was right when he said, I don't have a successor. He was right. He was right. We used to think that he was lying until we have seen his successor. We now know that he was right. But of course, we told President Mugabe that you have succeeded yourself successively, over and over. There is a problem. Yeah. There is no success without a successor. Yeah. You must have passed on the baton. Yeah, sure. Here we are. The humanitarian issue has to be dealt with, and this is why, in this context, we are happy and proud to say to Zimbabwe, this is our modest solution to a credible election. The principles for a reliable and inclusive, credible election in Zimbabwe, the principles that we believe are going to solve the issues. Let us now formally launch, as we have seen from the beauty, let's show them. Yes. This is the document. We now officially launch PRIZE, the principles for a reliable and inclusive, credible election in Zimbabwe. We dedicate this document to all the Zimbabweans, dead and alive, those who died for democracy. They want to see this happening. But as we do so, we also dedicate this document to our God, the living God, who is in it, in everything that we are going to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Your Excellency, sir. Indeed, this document, as you've said, is the cornerstone and foundational stone in our efforts to restore democracy in Zimbabwe, because we understand that elections are key. Without trying to summarize your keynote address, which was very comprehensive and also touching on other issues beyond the elections and the PRIZE document that we are launching, I'm going to briefly open plenary to take a few questions, clarifications that you want to seek with our keynote speaker, His Excellency Advocate President Nelson Chamisa, and also particularly on the document, the price. I think our elections department, Councillor Mafume, Leader Ellen Shielenga, ready and prepared to answer a few questions to clarify if you have issues that you want to clarify. So I'm going to open, and I'll take, I'm going to hand over to Honorable Mafume to just take a round or two of questions.
Yeah, I'll just take maybe one round. So. You? Is there another one? Okay. Is there a hint there? Okay, that's fine. So I only have one hint, so we'll deal with that. It's good.
At some point, Professor Jonathan Moore is on record as saying Zanu Pf will not reform themselves out of power. With this prescription that you have given out to the public to scrutinize and maybe to support, as seen here, price, do you think even with other stakeholders that are putting together some nuggets for this reform, are also going to bring them forward? Do you think Zanu Pf will reform themselves out of power? Because the instruments they are using may be their own cornerstone for them to remain in power. If they don't subscribe to this prescription, what are you going to do?
Is it to me?
To everyone.
You can ask it to everyone.
Okay. We must all understand that Zanu Pf has the habit of saying things that it won't happen. They've always said that they will. They always say a lot of things that they say will happen. They'll say over their dead bodies. Remember when Morgan Tsvangirai was still alive, they used to say you will never go to State House. He ended up being the Prime Minister of the country. They used to say we will not be made to change the constitution by people under a tree. Remember Zobo? They ended up changing the constitution. They used to say a lot of things. They will be made to reform. We do not reform for Zanu Pf, we reform for the people of Zimbabwe. These documents that we are producing are for the people of Zimbabwe. Our buy-in is not to beg Zanu Pf for reform. Our buy-in is from the people of Zimbabwe. Once their collective will is reflected within the documents, within the principles, we will have a new constitution, we will have a new electoral law, and we will have a new government, and we will have a new president, sooner rather than later.
In fact, just as an addition there, Councillor Mafume, you know, freedom is never a Father Christmas affair. Freedom is not donated. And we don't expect Zanu Pf to be the donor because they can't donate what they don't have. They are not the source of freedom. If anything, they are the source of oppression. So we'll never look up to our oppressors for their magnanimity to donate to us our freedom. We will demand our freedom. We will demand our rights. We will demand free and fair elections. And that's why it is about you and me and not Zanu and MDC. There's this misnomer to always think that it's about MDC, Zanu, it's Chamisa. Nobody has got the title deeds of this country. Zanu is a phenomenon that only came into being in 1963. This country, this soil, was there before 1963. So why should a country, a party that came in 1963, be the source of the problems in this country? And why should we allow it? Zimbabwe is not Zanu Pf. Zanu Pf is not Zimbabwe. But the people of Zimbabwe are the definition of Zimbabwe. So we don't care what they say. They must understand that reforms are important. To Zanu Pf and Mnangagwa, reform or deform. That's our message. If you don't reform, you will deform. And when you deform, you're out. Shape up or ship up. And that is the demand of the people. So we can't waste our time with our colleagues who are in the gerontocratic sphere octogenarians and nonagenarians who are causing problems for us unnecessarily. The young people must make sure that they come together to assert their voice on the future of this country. And we are the people. That's why I told you that we are our own liberators, and we will liberate ourselves. Liberation is not the sole proprietorship of those in Zanu Pf. It is our collective project. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. We are done. And we want to thank you for coming. Okay.